I can't take it anymore. My mind's about to go to war. I need someone to save me from myself, to hear me cry when I call out for help. I blame it on the voices that are in my head, wondering if they'll ever be put to bed. Feels like I am close to reaching my wit's end, holding out but I'm about to blow it up like a volcano. Another day to lose control. There's a fire in my bones. My sight gets blurry.
Good morning. Okay. A little late today. I didn't even stream yesterday because I just didn't feel like it, to be honest with you, if I'm being honest. I'll just start finding Latoya, Trish, live. Okay. I forgot to post live on Tiki. Let's do this. All right, I'm like, welcome. Let's look at some news, play some Wordle, play some mini crossword, and then get the hell out of here. I am awake, definitely under caffeinated, and ready to see how miserable the world is. So come along. Okay. All right. I'll show you the video. Okay. Great Barrier Reef suffers worst coral decline on record. Everything's falling apart. Everything. Parts of the Great Barrier Reef have suffered the largest annual decline in coral cover since records began nearly 40 years ago, according to a new report. Let me get this right. The ozone layer is falling apart, right, because of harmful gases we create. The land we live in is falling apart because of oil drilling and fracking and all kinds of stuff. The water, the Great Barrier Reef, like the water, marine signs, marine animals, organisms are falling apart. Again, like what is good? What is right? We live in. If the world was like just neighborhoods of planets, we live on like ghetto planet. That's what we live on. Northern and southern branches of the sprawling Australian reef both suffered their most widespread coral bleaching. Reefs have been battered in recent months by tropical cyclones and outbreaks of crown of thorns starfish that feast on coral, but heat stress driven by climate change is the predominant reason. AMS. Wait, hold on. Why is my dock not working? I had my stream info, stream advanced stage. How do I stream? Oh, there you go. There you go. Multi-chat. Just read only mod. Read only mode. Okay. All right. Everything is falling apart. So reefs have been battered in recent months by tropical cyclones and outbreaks of crown of thorns, starfish that feast on coral, but heat stress driven by climate change is the predominant reason. I'm telling you, we live in the most dysfunctional homes, right? Our house is dysfunctional. Parents are getting divorced. Bills are not paid. The roof is leaking, and nothing works. That's where we live. That's the world we live in. Okay, what's next? We have CDC warns of mosquito-borne chikungunya outbreak in Southeast China. I don't know. Am I the only one who feel like desensitized to like news outside or where I live? Just because like, oh, it's happening over there. It's sad on a human level, but also like, it's not here, thank God. U.S. health officials issued a warning to travelers about a mosquito-borne illness being transmitted in parts of Southeast China. The Center for Disease Control, this is CDC and Prevention, said there is an outbreak of chikungunya in Guangdong Guangdong province, most cases have been reported in the city of Foshan. Most people infected with the virus develop fever, joint pain, headache, muscle pain, rash, joint swelling, and other symptoms. The CDC said Friday in a traveling warning. Symptoms usually begin 3 to 7 days after a person has been bitten by an infected mosquito. The CDC said most people recover in about a week, and there is no treatment. In some cases, severe joint pain can last for several months to years following acute illness. Newborns and older adults, as well as people with medical conditions such as heart disease, and diabetes, are more prone to severe illness. Death is rare, the CDC said. It's like I said, everything is falling apart. Florida snake hunters. The snake hunters in Florida? Well, it makes sense. Oh god. Florida snake hunters deployed robotic rabbits to capture invasive Burmese python. Why are the Burmese pythons in Florida? A team dedicated to controlling populations of invasive Burmese pythons in South Florida has deployed another unique method to find the elusive predators. Robotic rabbits. Robots are remote controlled, solar powered, and designed to look like marsh rabbits, a preferred choice of prey for the pythons, according to the South Florida Water Management District, which is funding the project as part of its python elimination program. Is that even good? Because you know how they say, like, if you affect the flora and fauna of a place, then there's always a negative effect. Pythons are predators. You gotta get rid of them if you want to live there. But is that even good to have that? Do that? I don't know. Medical plane crashes near Chile, killing 4. Rest in peace. Oh, I did read this. This is the Navajo. The medical transport plane en route to pick up a patient at the Chile airport crashed and burst into flames Tuesday. Oh, I forgot to add all these plane crashes, and I'm still wondering if it's trying to be reasonable and seeing if these things are actually happening more in numbers now, or if we're just more just overly connected and stimulated with news all the time, so we kind of know everything that's going on. Medical transport plane en route to pick up a patient at the Chile airport crashed and burst into flames Tuesday, killing all 4 people aboard. All victims were non-local medical flight personnel. No patient was on board at the time of the crash. The twin propeller aircraft operated by CSI Aviation of Albuquerque was on a scheduled flight to transport a patient from a nearby hospital when the crash occurred just short of the runway. The Chile Police District of the Navajo Police Department, Navajo EMS, and Navajo Nation Fire and Rescue Services responded immediately to the... Thank you for the follow, Kushanompa. The Navajo Nation Fire and Rescue Services responded immediately to the scene and confirmed the aircraft was fully engulfed upon arrival. There was no distress signal that we know of. We wouldn't receive those anyway if there was. Yadzi said aircraft that used the Chile airport worked with air traffic control from Denver. Yet air traffic control was in the process of aiding officials with gathering information relating to the crash. If you're interested, message me on Discord and I'll walk you through how it works. It's not luck. It's all math and strategy. I started small and scaled up once I got the hang of it. I'll check this out. I keep saying people, I'll check it out. I guess it's Discord. I'm gonna add you. Yeah, I stopped adding people in between streams just so I can get clips out of this shit. But I've not put out a clip in like 3-4 days. So, all right. Trump administration to reinstall Confederate statue toppled in Black Lives Matter protests. Okay, let's go. Statue of Albert Pike, a Confederate general, will return to Washington D.C. National Park Services says the statue of general in the Confederate Army that was toppled and set on fire during social justice protests in 2020 in Washington D.C. will be reinstated. The National Park Services has announced the bronze statue depicting Albert Pike is being restored. The Park Service said in a statement on Monday, sharing a photo of the statue undergoing cleaning to remove corrosion and paint prior to repair, with a view to reinstalling it by October. Restoration aligns with federal responsibilities under historic preservation law, as well as recent executive orders to beautify the nation's capital and reinstate pre-existing statues. A statement from the agency said, including an executive order issued by Donald Trump in March calling for restoring truth and sanity to American history. Restoration is just the latest action undertaken by the NPS, faced with unprecedented staff cuts and threats to some $1 billion of its federal funding under the Trump administration that falls in line with the president's agenda to sanitize and rewrite the country's history. Rewrite. It has come under fire in recent months for removing or editing content to scrub references to certain historical narratives, including slavery, stories of women, African Americans, and LGBTQ plus individuals. It removed references to transgender people from its Stonewall National Monument webpage in February, while pages about Harriet Tubman and a Black Medal of Honor recipient were restored after public backlash. The agency also faced scrutiny for directing park staff to review gift shop items for content deemed anti-American. Gift shop items? What could be anti-American in that? In the wake of the police murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, the anti-racist protesters used rope and chains to topple the Pike statue, the only one of a Confederate general in the nation's capital, and set it ablaze on Juneteenth, the day marking the end of slavery in the U.S. in 2020. Floyd's death had sparked a nationwide reckoning with systemic racism, which included calls for the removal of monuments to the Confederacy, more than 300 of which were eventually removed across the country. Oh, God. Disney's ESPN to acquire NFL media assets in major deal. U.S. manufacturing extends slump. Factory employment lowest in 5 years. Wow, okay. Washington, August 5th, Reuters, U.S. manufacturing contracted for a fifth straight month. Oh, contracted. U.S. manufacturing contracted for a fifth straight month in July, and factory employment dropped to the lowest level in 5 years amid tariffs that have raised prices of imported raw materials. The Institute for Supply Management (ISM) said on Friday that its manufacturing PMI dropped to 48 last month from 49 in June. A PMI. What is the PMI? Manufacturing PMI. What is the PMI? A PMI reading below 50 indicates contraction in manufacturing, which accounts for 10.2% of the economy. What is PMI in manufacturing? Purchasing Managers Index. This is a key economic indicator that gauges the health and direction of the manufacturing sector. Purchasing Managers Index. Purchasing Managers Index. It's based on a monthly survey of purchasing managers in manufacturing companies who are asked about various aspects of the business, such as new orders, production, employment, supply deliveries, and inventory levels. Okay. The Reuters Tariff Watch newsletter is your daily guide. Bro, you make so much money. I hate when this happens. Subscribe to read more. Sean Diddy Combs has reached out to Trump about pardon, so says. Sean Diddy Combs' defense team has reached out to President Donald Trump seeking a pardon after his conviction of prostitution-related offenses. A source close to the legal team told NBC News on Tuesday. Asked about pardons in an interview with Newsmax on Friday, Trump said they have talked to me about Sean but did not announce any decision. The source close to Combs' legal team confirmed to NBC News that it has been in contact with the Trump administration. The confirmation that the Trump administration has been approached was earlier reported Tuesday by CNN in an interview with defense team member Nicole Westmoreland. I don't know how, between this and some of the other stuff, if he goes through with this, I don't know how people will react, including his base. Sweden, Norway, Denmark gives greater beauty. This is official. Okay, I see you're already an affiliate. Great job. Am I an affiliate? I'm not an affiliate on Kick. What are you talking about? Am I an freaking affiliate? Actually, I don't know if I'm supposed to. What the hell, bro? Am I an affiliate on Kick? Unlock. Where did that come from? That's such. Already 50 years now. What is this guy talking about, by the way? But none of this is true. This is a fish cake. No, this is some bullshit, dude. This is some fake shit. Okay. See, right. Sweden, Norway, Denmark gives $500 million to NATO project to send US weapons to Ukraine. Wait, why are they, how does that work? Stockholm, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark will contribute around $500 million to a NATO-led initiative to supply Ukraine with U.S. weapons, including Patriots missiles to ensure it can continue defensive against Russia. The three countries said on Tuesday. U.S. President Donald Trump said last month the United States would supply weapons to Ukraine, paid for by European allies, but did not indicate how this would be done. Interesting. Who does have like paywall? You can't read the whole thing. Okay, JFK Jr. pulls $500 million in funding for vaccine development. Epstein scandal broadens as trove letters from famous figures published. I am just reading this. I'm just looking at it, by the way. I don't. Oh God, what is this? Ooh, who are these letters from? Noam Chomsky and his wife. Other letter writers reportedly included billionaire mogul Mortimer Zuckerman. Noam Chomsky and his wife. Noam Chomsky and his wife. Joichi Ito, the former head of the Masters MIT Media Lab, physicist Lawrence M. Cross, and Harvard biologist and mathematician Martin Nowak. This is crazy. Letter from filmmaker Woody Allen. Okay. Who's Barack and his wife wrote, "There is no limit to your curiosity. You're like a closed book to many of them, but you know everything about everyone." They wrote, describing Epstein as a collector of people. They continued, "May you enjoy a long and healthy life, and may all of us, your friends, enjoy your table for many more years to come." Allen described the dinner as well served. I say well served often. It's by some professional houseman, and just as often by several young women who he said reminded him of Castle Dracula, where Lugosi has 3 young female vampires to serve as a place. Alan Idris Nowak did not respond. My God. What about Chomsky? Is Chomsky still alive? There's often the images of a taxidermied tiger. Okay. This, bro. Not cool. Testing that. French minister to take legal action against a man who's lit cigarette from memorial. Somebody, wait, video of man lighting cigarette from tomb of the unknown soldier in Paris was widely shared on social media. Is this there everywhere? In every country, is there a tomb of unknown soldier? Because there's one in DC too, right? The French minister has said she is taking legal action against an unidentified man who was filmed lighting a cigarette from a memorial flame at a major Paris war monument. The video of a man stooping to light a cigarette from the fire at the tomb of the unknown soldier under the Arc de Triomphe before walking calmly away, watched by tourists, caused indignation when it was widely shared on social media. I mean, if it's not a French guy, there might be some friction there. Rwanda agrees to accept third country deportation from the US. Tennessee executes Byron Black despite concerns about heart device. It's hurting so bad. They went through with it? I remember reading about this. Tennessee executed Byron Black 69 by lethal injection. Black was sentenced to death for the 1988 murder of his ex-girlfriend and her 2 daughters in South Nashville. His death was preceded by a complicated legal fight over concerns with his implanted heart device. The thing is, like, this guy, it could be his way of like getting out of it. It's also like a human right issue, but it could also be his way of like trying, and his lawyer's way of just at least prolonging the process, prolonging his death sentence. Spirit Airlines pilot removed from duty after being arrested for stalking teenagers. No. A Spirit Airlines pilot who was allegedly stalking teenagers was arrested at Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport and removed from duty by the airline. Dominic A. Cipolla, 40, has been charged with stalking two teenagers, according to a July 11 criminal complaint. The charges originated in Johnson County, Kansas, and include birth dates of the alleged victims, 12 and 17 years old. 12 is young. DePaula was arrested by law enforcement at the airport in New Orleans on June 17th in connection to the criminal allegations, according to The Guardian. After he was taken into custody, police took him to jail before transferring him to Johnson County, Kansas on August 2nd. Thank you for the follow, Answers to War. He bonded out after posting $12,500, and that's it. And he's scheduled to return to court on August 12th. That's fast. When did he get pulled out? Does it say which month? It's August. Oh, on August 2nd, and then August 12th. So you got a date. Oh wow! According to The Guardian, Cipolla alleged actions with a younger victim and are considered a felony. If convicted, Cipolla would be sentenced to 1 or 3 years in prison. Younger victim. Wait, what did he do? The other charges he faces is a misdemeanor, which could land him in a fine up to $2,500 or up to a year in jail. Suspect in Tennessee, quadruple killing captured after a week on the run. I remember reading that. This is the teacher who killed the families. And just says 3 chemical makers agree to forever chemical settlement worth up to $2 billion. Who's getting that? This is the same one, right? Let me just check. Manhunt of the kidnapping of baby Angel in Jackson, Tennessee. Yeah, this is the same one. Wasn't he a teacher? No, police and community cooperation. Drummond. Yep, this is the same one. I wonder why he did it. Arkansas. Wait. Oh wait. What is the chemical makers? I mean, the DuPont people are rich, bro. Trenton and New Jersey, DuPont and 2 other companies will pay New Jersey up to $2 billion to settle environmental claims stemming from PFA. It is commonly referred to as Forever Chemicals. The companies announced Monday. State Environmental Commissioner Sean LaTourette said the deal with DuPont, Chemours, and Corteva is the largest such settlement in the state's history. It calls for the companies to pay $875 million over 25 years and create a remediation fund of $1.2 billion. The companies will split the cost under the deal, which must still be approved by the courts. PFAs, or perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances, are a group of chemicals that have been around for decades and have now spread into the nation's air, water, and soil. They are commonly referred to as forever chemicals. DuPont said the settlement will resolve all pending environmental and other claims for legacy contamination claims at 4 sites where the companies operate in the state. Comes just months after the state said chemical manufacturer 3M has agreed to pay up $450 million to resolve lawsuits over natural resource contamination stemming from PFAS. Interesting. I don't know how many of these companies can exist in different states. I think they just pay the fine and keep functioning. Arkansas man sentenced to life without parole for 2024 mass shooting in grocery store. Where was this? That was a shooting? 2024. I mean, there's always a shooting, but 4 dies Arkansas. An Arkansas man who killed 4 people and injured 11 others last year in a mass shooting at a grocery store was sentenced Monday to life in prison without parole. A state judge sentenced Travis Eugene Posey to 4 life sentences for each count of capital murder. Posey was also sentenced to 220 years in prison for 11 counts of attempted capital murder. Posey pleaded guilty last month to the shooting, which occurred last summer at the Mad Butcher grocery store in Fordyce, a city about 3,200 people located 65 miles south of Little Rock. I've heard of Little Rock. Judge Spencer Singleton handed down the sentence after testimony from family members of victims of the shooting during a hearing in Fordyce. I guess very well. It's the life without parole. That's justified, I guess. Because I don't think they have capital punishment. No. DOJ launching grand jury investigation into Russiagate conspiracy allegations. Interesting. Attorney General Pam, is it Bondi or Bondi? Pam Bondi has ordered a grand jury investigation into the intelligence regarding President Trump and Russia in the run-up to the 2016 election. She has directed Justice Department staff to begin legal proceedings and ordered a federal prosecutor to present evidence to a grand jury under the matter to secure a potential indictment. According to a source familiar with Bonta's effort, it is unclear what the charges would be and who would be charged. The directive follows a criminal referral from Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard in mid-July. The Justice Department confirmed it had received the referral. The Justice Department has not responded to a request for comment. Oh, they're looking into that. But that was like, bro, they're going back at people like who, I guess, went after. I mean, they're going after people who said some things years back. This is regarding his first term. Flash flood swallow Indian village. At least 4 dead, over 15 missing. Which part? What is this? Lucknow, India, August 5th. Reuters surging floodwaters and a torrent of mud swept through village in the northern Indian Himalayan state of Uttarakhand. Killing at least 4 people while more than 50 others were missing, authorities and local TV channels said on Tuesday. Okay, that looks bad. But also, I don't know if India has the resources to deal with these things. Like, you need to have guardrails in place for if something happens, money set aside, people set aside, like people that can respond to these, like firefighters and other teams that can respond to these natural disasters. Jair Bolsonaro, Brazil judge orders house arrest of former president. Oh, this is the guy they sanctioned, right? The judge, the sanctions judge. Brazil's Supreme Court has ordered that the former right-wing president Jair Bolsonaro be put under house arrest. He is standing trial over allegations he plotted a coup, which he denies. The judge in charge of investigating Bolsonaro, Alexander de Moraes, said the decision was because Bolsonaro hadn't complied with restraining orders put on him last month. In response to the order, Bolsonaro's legal team denied breaching a restraining order and said they would appeal the ruling, according to Reuters news agency. In a statement on X, the U.S. State Department said it condemns the court order and will hold accountable all those aiding and abetting sanctioned conduct. See? What happens when a country sanctions? What happens when a country like U.S. sanctions an individual like the judge in Brazil? Okay. When the United States sanctions an individual like a judge in Brazil, it can have significant consequences for that individual and potentially impact broader relations between the two countries. Okay. Consequences of the individual asset freeze. Any assets or properties the individual may have in the U.S. could be frozen, according to the U.S. Department of the Treasury. Okay. Prohibition of transactions. U.S. individuals and entities are generally prohibited from engaging in financial transactions or providing goods or services to or from the sanctioned individual. Travel restrictions. The sanctioned individual could be denied entry into the United States, or could be. Not a cut and dry no. Reputational damage. The individual's reputation may suffer significantly, impacting their personal and professional life. Broader implications. So individually, it's like if you're not in any way connected to the United States, it's not big because your assets won't be frozen because you're not in the United States. You don't have any connections to the United States. You can't deal with, like, if you're not in the business, you can't have do financial transactions of providing goods or services for anyone in the U.S. to or from. So, which again, if your career in some other countries pretty good, doesn't matter. I know all the assets are in other countries. And travel restrictions, again, if you don't want to travel to America, if you don't have any reason to. And the reputational damage, how is his reputation in his locality, like in his vicinity? How are the people in his little private life and personal life, professional life? How are people looking at it? While sanctions can cause inconvenience and economic damage, there's debate about the effectiveness in coercing individuals or regimes to change behavior, especially in cases where the sanctioned individual or regime believes they're acting in the country's best interest or are supported domestically. That's my point. If domestically he's been supported, then it doesn't have much of an effect. Tennessee readies for execution of man. I remember that. Thousands of I didn't read yesterday's news. Thousands of files on rogue California cops made public via searchable database. This mask. The records open a window into nearly 12,000 cases involving allegations of sexual assault to brutality, complaints, and incidents involving deadly force. Thousands of previously secret files on alleged police misconduct in California have now been made public through a searchable database. The police records access project database, painstakingly assembled over 7 years by journalists, activists, and data scientists, went public on Monday with documents from more than 400 government agencies across the across the Golden State. The records open a window into nearly 12,000 cases involving alleged police misconduct or the use of serious force, ranging from dishonesty through brutality complaints to repeated sexual harassment by officers. The database will allow researchers, journalists, members of the public, and victims of police misconduct to dig into how California cops have handled such cases, while helping defense lawyers identify officers who may have skeletons in their closets. In 2018, California had some of the most secret records in the country, so people decided to work together. Project co-founder Lisa Pickhoff-White told the San Francisco Chronicle, one of the news outlets providing access to the database. Remember there was a case like a few maybe months or years ago, even I don't remember when, but there was this officer had arrested this woman, and she says something, and she something suggestive, and then he turns off the camera. Next thing you know, he's locked up in the back of his cop car with her. He can't get out. He was locked in, and he had to call assistants, backup. And then the next day, there's a video of him explaining why he was stuck in the back car. It was it was interesting, but this is interesting. 12,000 cases is a lot of cases, and people can't even sue, right? Because this is actually, if they haven't sued already, this is actually like kind of like a incriminating evidence from the side of the police. Model arrested after police found husband found stabbed to death in NYC apartment. These guys are gay. Prosecutor, which has no impact on the crime, by the way. A prosecutor said the victim had a protection order against his husband, Donald Zeben Hood, since late last year. How do you do that when it's your husband? Oh, you're probably like in the process of getting divorced. This guy looks evil too. A male model with a history of alleged domestic violence towards his husband was arraigned on charges of burglary and contempt of court over the weekend, accused of violating a protection order at the Harlem home when his partner was found dead. Jacob Zeben Hood was found dead around 4 a.m. Friday, slumped over a toilet with multiple stab wounds across his body, prosecutors said in charging documents. The 34-year-old personal trainer had a gash on his head and several wounds to the back of his leg, one deep enough to penetrate the muscle. According to officials, a medical examiner has not yet determined his cause of death. Police found the man at his Harlem apartment on West 138th Street after his husband Don Zeben Hood called 911. Don told the operator he found his husband dead on the toilet and expressed worry that he could be arrested for violating protection order. Prosecutor said Don said he had been hurt and needed medical attention. Prosecutor said Jacob had a protection order in place against his husband since late last year. Don was ordered to stay away and refrain from communicating with Jacob, an order he's alleged to have broken on several occasions. When police arrived around, found Donald seated on the couch inside the apartment. He allegedly told officers that Jacob had attacked him with a knife. Officials said Donald had 3 cuts on his arms that needed stitches. Prosecutors, however, claimed that Jacob had called his dad earlier in the night, claiming that Donald was chasing him with a knife and refusing to let him leave the apartment. His father said he could hear Donald in the back of the car yelling at Jacob, calling him names. Why did the dad just go and or maybe the dad is in a different country or state? But he should have called the cops right away. Donald was arraigned Sunday on charges of burglary, criminal contempt, and weapons possession. He has not been charged in the death of his husband, but officials are investigating the case as a homicide. Officials said the couple has a history of domestic abuse dating to 2022. Which is which? Donald Hood and the launch party. Model arrested after his husband is the... Oh, so the model is the one who is the perpetrator. Husband is the trainer. Convicted rapist fighting to remain in parliament in Australia. Gates Foundation commits $2.5 million to ignore women's health. Wow. Let me read this, and then I think this is the last one, and then I'm going to go. All right. An Australian politician convicted of rape is fighting from his jail cell to remain a member of the New South Wales State Parliament. How do you do that? Gareth Ward was last month found guilty of sexually assaulting 2 young men aged 18 24 at his home between 2013 and 2015 and is now in custody pending sentencing. The NSW State Parliament had planned to expel the 44-year-old this week after he refused to resign following the guilty verdict. However, lawyers for Ward who plans to appeal his conviction, say they will seek an injunction at a Supreme Court hearing on Thursday to stop the independent member for Kiama from being forced out. Bro, the audacity, I swear to God. But that's enough news for today. I'm going to play some Wordle. Combs was denied bail while awaiting sentencing. Okay, I didn't read these things. Florida reports 21 years of E. coli infection linked to raw milk. Raw milk is really taking off in like the right wing, what do you call it? Right wing health sphere, right? Although the right wing right wing fucking meat heads were suggesting it. Now I do think they have more IGF-1 and more what do you call it? More benefits, but E. coli is like that's a problem, right? The you don't know what's in it, what other things if it's been contaminated, if it's like if it's edible or consumable. About 3,200 Boeing jet and weapons workers begin strike. I remember that. Elon Musk awarded $200 billion pay package from Tesla. U.S. could require up to $50,000 bonds for some tourist visas under pilot program. Irish missionary and child, 3 among 9 kidnapped from Haiti. Orphanage. Denmark Zoo asked people to donate their small pets as food for captive predators. What? Las Vegas June tourism declines by 11% from 2024. 11% is quite a lot, actually. United Airlines flight make emergency landing at Dulles after pilot declares Mayday. Bro, what is pilot declares Mayday meaning? The aviation Mayday is a radio telephone distress signal used to indicate a life-threatening emergency where immediate assistance is required. Mayday, I've heard that actually. All right, let's play Wordle. Same strategy. Okay, word with the most number of vowels I can think of. Okay. Okay. Can I do this? I'm gonna do this. It's not there, but okay. All right. I was right, but I don't know if E is wasted it. Anyway. Some let's make them. Okay, 5-letter word. There's R, A, and O in it. I want to see if there's E in it. Let me just try this. Okay, there's no E in it, so it's R-O-E. Toledo, Trodi. 5-letter word with R-O and A-R-O in it. Letters A-R-O. 5-letter word. 5-letter word with letters A-R-O. A-R-O. Row. Chrona. Wait, is it? Other day, buddy. Good, Nancy. My day is going good. I'm trying to solve this Wordle. If you can guess, 5-letter word. It's and there are 3 letters that we know: R, A, and O. I don't know the position of it. 5-letter word with R, A, and O. Roman. Okay. Now 5-letter word with R, O, A, and N. And A and N is at the end. We know that. Grown. What? I solved it. That was easy. I mean, yeah. Took me 5 tries, but okay. All right, let's try this shit. Stylish. Another word. Piffy. Piffy is not piff. Hip, hip, hippie, hip. Something a beach umbrella provides. Shade. Dash banks in North Carolina. I don't know. Unlikely to keep you up at night in a way. Unlikely to keep you up at night. The eruption of Mount St. Helens released 520 million tons of it. Lava? Lava. Ash. Right? Lava. Okay. Come out of one's shell. Bright light. Bright light. Bright. Best viewers in stream. Bright idea. Fab. Fab. Amazing, fabulous. Starry or squirt? What is that supposed to mean? Color tones, hues. That's pretty easy. What's this? Or unlikely to keep you up at night. Melatonin, sleeping aid. Coffee keeps you up at night. Oh, wait. Decaf. Okay. What's 6? Bangs. Outer. What's 2? 1 down. Come out of one's shell. Hatch out of your shell. Okay. Ashburn, North Carolina. UTE. Blank UTE. 5-letter word blank UTE. These 5-letter words, I mean, I swear to God. Blank UTE blank. Outer. Oh, wow. Pretty good day. Pretty good. 2 minutes, 7 seconds. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. Not bad. 42 minutes. 42 minutes. Stream. Not bad stream. I'm out of here. Peace. The 2 comment, bro. Why do I not know these comments? I swear to God. Comment anonymous. Question mark. I got a question. I'm not seeing these comments, dude. Oh, I gotta be better. I gotta do better. I gotta get this. I gotta get the chat over here.